Well, the Pinnacle Lifetime Achievement Award is given to an individual who's made a profound impact on our profession. This year's Pinnacle Lifetime Achievement Award goes to an individual who's never been an EMT, never been a medic, but who has positively impacted the lives of literally thousands of leaders over the 25 years teaching, coaching, and modeling the way for ambulance service managers and communications center managers in the programs that he's been involved with. I'd like to ask Jennifer Kirkland and Hannah Fitch, who are core members of the faculty members for ASM and CCM, to escort Dr. David Nelson and his wife Ann to the stage. Right out there in the middle, we're going to have you stand here and take it for a few minutes, for a moment or two. I will tell you that it was my great good fortune to meet this humble man. And in that initial meeting that we had, I knew he was special. And over a cup of coffee the following week, I encouraged him to join the ASM faculty. And over the course of the next 2.5 decades, he's made an incredibly positive impact on the lives of many of you in this room. Throughout those years, David listened and then gently asked the hard questions that helped each of us think through how to stay between the ditches on the side of the road. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Nelson is a retired Lutheran pastor, and he's a master storyteller. The ASM and CCM alumni in the room will still remember David's classic allegorical story about how Marvin and Lincoln's families dramatically different approaches to dealing with a difficult situation shaped those two young people's lives. And in all his teaching, David used stories and an interactive methodology called appreciative inquiry to bring forth the best of those with whom he interacted. Now, I could go on and on and on, but let's hear from some of those folks, David's students and colleagues.
In 1994, Jay Fitch started the Ambulance Service Manager Program, or ASM. In 1996, he invited Dr. David Nelson to join the faculty, and a partnership was born. They added the Communication Center Manager Program, or CCM, in 2004. For 25 years, professionals from the ambulance service and the world of 911 learned from David Nelson. Upon learning that David was retiring, they have some thoughts for him.
Your education and instruction is timeless, and you cause me to challenge my appreciative inquiry skills every day.
We wanted to wish you farewell, along with the chief and the other deputy chiefs behind me. One particular memory that I had of you was riding a scooter down the boulevard next to the Gulf of Mexico.
That I'm excited for your ability to retire, and I hope you have an excellent retirement. I'm sure it will be a wonderful time for you. I have fond memories of either the breakfasts before class or a particularly memorable dinner at the Fogo de Chao. We wish you the best.
Even though my wife met you only briefly 18 years ago, David, she regularly quotes you to this day. You rock, my friend.
Thank you, David, for teaching us how to be human, to feel our feelings, and to act out of our positive core. You are truly a gift to the world.
I want to wish you well in your retirement, and congratulations on touching the lives of so many people across the years that you've been doing this.
He's had such a profound influence for good on my life, and I know on the lives of countless other people.
David, I can't think of a more deserving person to be receiving this recognition. Thank you for all that you've done to help us move forward from an industry to a profession.
You've made a big difference in our world and helped us all remember that we can be kind and vulnerable and human and caring and loving.
David, we have all learned so much through you, but it's not just your teaching that transforms us into better people. Your mentoring, your encouragement, and your friendship do that too. You teach that each one of us is in charge of our future, and that's why we know yours is so bright.
Yes. Anthony, presenting this award, we'll let David speak.
David, it's my honor to present to you the Pinnacle Lifetime Achievement Award, to thank you so much for all of us whose lives you've this last 25 years.
Thank you.
In December of 1975, Ann and I were living a storybook life. But on that December night, our daughter Molly developed signs of croup. And after several nights in the emergency room in consultation with KU Medical Center, the decision was made to transport her to KU Medical Center in Kansas City. When Ed and I have entrusted our precious daughter into your care, we needed to know two things about you. We need to know that you were excellent providers of medical care, that you had been trained and oriented and were supported with supervision to provide the best possible outcome in pre-hospital care and medical transport. But we also needed to know that you were a human being, that you, like us, had the ability to love and to be loved, that you, like us, have the ability to invest deep emotional content and feelings and develop relationships. You have the ability to feel, but you also have the ability to not make decisions without thinking it through and had strong emotional intelligence. 20 years later, almost to the day, I was attending a Sunday school class and I met a guy who seemed like he kind of knew what he was talking about, and after the class he asked me out for coffee. He said in that meeting, he asked me what I was doing those days, and I asked him what he was doing, and the two of us developed a little bit of a friendship, not a deep one at the time. But he called me up a couple of weeks later and asked if I would do a training. He was bringing some people into the Hyatt Regency in Kansas City, and I think he even said you could do anything you want to do. So I did that training. Never thought it was any type of an evaluation or something. But a couple of weeks after that, he said, we're going to need more time together, David. I've got a contract I'm looking at, and I'd like to talk to you about it. It was from the American Ambulance Association, a program called ASM. That was Jay Fitch, of course, that I was meeting with. And for the last quarter of a century, I have been having the privilege of meeting with you at ASM and CCM. If you were a participant in ASM or CCM, would you stand up and stay standing for a minute? These lights keep me from seeing really well. I'm not blocking my eyes. I'm trying to visualize. Stay standing if you wouldn't mind. If you've been on the faculty at one of those sessions, would you stand up and stay standing for a minute? Some of you could raise your hand because you were ASM and CCM, and then you were faculty members as well. Everybody up here on this thing, except for Ann, can be standing for this. My personal hope would be to sit down with each of you for about an hour, half hour, and ask you a question that you know well. Tell me a story about a time you were challenged, but you worked it through and you felt like you were doing what the world created you to do, and you had a good outcome. It came out okay, or it didn't come out okay, but I felt good that I was doing what I needed to be doing. Well, I don't have the time to listen to each of you tell the story, so you can be seated. But I do want you to tell you the rest of my story. That transport didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. It didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. Molly died in the back of an ambulance somewhere on I-70, perhaps near Lawrence, Kansas. Ann and I will always be grieving parents. But we're human beings, and we know that grief is a healing process. And grief enables me to continue to function as a human being. And I have learned so much over these years about medical transport and pre-hospital care. But together, you taught me those things, but together we have discovered how to be emotionally intelligent and feel our feelings, but realize they're not always the best for making decisions. We have celebrated the gifts of appreciative supervision and appreciative inquiry, and building teams, and knowing ourselves so that we can grow ourselves. And because of that, it is an honor for me to accept this incredible honor. Because we know that death may end a life, but it doesn't end a relationship. I celebrate this with my daughter, Molly, with my precious life partner for 25 years, 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and all the rest of the residents of your communities who go to bed tonight a little bit more confident. But when they're in a panic and they dial 911, they know that whatever happens next may not turn out the way they want. But because we're human beings, we're going to be able to make it. I want for every one of you to be wonderful human beings as well as wonderful professionals. I want for you to be well, to continue to practice self-care, to continue to build relationships that build a great community. And I have one request, and this is the last time that I will ask it of you, to boldly repeat after me once again. I am a wonderful person.
I am a wonderful person.
I am not alone.
I'm not alone.
I am in charge of my future.
I am in charge of my future.
Thank you very, very much for being here.
David, you've inspired us, you've encouraged us, and you've challenged us not only to listen, but to act as leaders. For that,